It was probably 1987 or 88 when we met. We were in a broadcasting class. I remember the first time I saw her across the room and she caught my eye. So our very first date, we went out and I really didn't have a whole lot of money. So I was honest and I said, would you mind if we went out and we just order salads? And she was fine with that. And that's what we did. And that started off our journey. We got married in 1990. So it isn't as natural or as easy for everyone to conceive as one might think. And it was challenging, but over time, we finally were able to conceive and we were thrilled. At the 22-week visit, I was traveling for work, and the first call we got, as I recall, was that Suzanne was low on amniotic fluid. I wasn't overly concerned quite yet because I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know if the baby was in jeopardy, but at 22 weeks, we knew we had to go back. So the next visit to the doctor was at 24 weeks, and we were told that there was no amniotic fluid in the womb at all. That was jarring. That was a life-changing moment. Of course, we loved our child, and we wanted to know what hopeful steps we were going to be given next, or some direction. And instead of direction or hope, he recommended a couple of things. One, abort the baby, or two, go home and wait for her to die. And his recommendation wasn't based on fact. He made an assumption that because there was no amniotic fluid, that Rachel had no organs to produce the amniotic fluid that is in the womb. Up until about 20 or 24 weeks, the baby actually produces the amniotic fluid. So he assumed she didn't have any organs and was therefore not compatible with life outside of the womb. And he made an error in his assumption and in his ultimate diagnosis of her at that time. At one point, when we were with the doctor, we asked him if there were other tests he could do. And very flatly, he said, the only other test I could offer you is an autopsy report. And we honestly didn't know what to do with that, other than we knew we didn't want to be there under his care any longer at that point. We reached out to fellow Christians, a doctor at our church. She's an OBGYN. I vividly remember the moment that Rachel was born, and it was an emergency C-section. Suzanne had been admitted so that the doctors could monitor Suzanne and monitor the baby. And we were seemed like we were rushed into the operating room. And I do remember vividly, it was a blue sheet, and then I remember seeing Rachel come up over the top of that sheet, and she was very tiny and very red, and her hand moved, and she actually made a squawking noise, if you will, she cried out a little bit. And we were told later on that the doctors said that was a very good sign for her to have made a noise and to be moving. But it was something I'll never forget, and you can't really put words to it either. When we were at the doctor's office for the 24-week visit, and the doctor informed us that one of our choices was to abort Rachel, we said we want other choices. And he said in all his years of practice, no one had ever asked for another option. So one could conclude he may have made other misdiagnoses. So the Rachel today, she's young and she's passionate. She's very, very passionate about life, about unborn life. You know, God says, I knit you together in your mother's womb. So God knew her before we did and had value in her. And if we didn't know God or that verse, I can't imagine how that would have changed our perspectives. It would have been a lot different. people would say, wow, what a miracle that she is. And my response was, we're all miracles. She just finished her development outside of the womb.